Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. No matter what time zone you happen to be in, welcome to Leaders Worldwide Online Club. I am Isaac Ford, the Sergeant at Arms. The mission, we provide a positive and supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Core values, integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our founding president, Cynthia Stott. Cynthia, you have the podium.
Great. Let me get on camera real quick. Welcome, welcome. So glad we're here. And it's my pleasure. I'm going to welcome you all. We have a lot of guests today wanting to come in and learn about TED and TEDx and what we're doing here at Leaders Worldwide regarding TED and TEDx. Great. So I'm going to welcome our guests. And let me see. The first one I see is Luem. Luem Tabili. Hi. Welcome. Want to tell us where you're calling in from and why you came today?
And don't forget to unmute.
Yes.
Okay, a very good afternoon for all of you. And I am from Malaysia and recently signed up and officially be a member of the Uptown Auckland Toastmasters Club. And I'm thankful for that. Thank you, Cynthia, and thank you, Sally, Grace. Okay, and I'm here to know more about the TEDx and want to listen more and more from you all. Thank you. Back to you.
Awesome. Thank you. And Pallavi, welcome. Would you like to tell us where you're calling in from and why you came today?
Thank you, Toastmaster Cynthia, and hello and welcome to each one of you. I'm so glad to connect from India, and I have been with Toastmasters since the past 5 years. Been a member of Adobe Toastmasters Club, which is a corporate club, and represented my club in area and division level contests of table topics, evaluation, and ISC.
Wow.
Also chartered club and followed, thank you, and fulfilled all the roles from treasurer to president to VP education PR, done that all. Mentoring IIT, which is an institute of technology, mentoring officially, and many more things, which will take too much time, but I'm very passionate about public speaking. I have a story to tell and the ups and downs of life. And my organization gave me the opportunity to represent that under diversity and inclusion, which is now on YouTube as well. And I feel if there is anybody and everybody who has a story to tell, you will find listeners. Just gather the courage to tell your story and it will reach to the right people. And maybe you'll make an impact forever and live till eternity. So that's the selfish reason I have, that I want to learn from each one of you, and Toastmasters is never enough. Every meeting has something new to offer. So I'm here to learn from each one of you. Thank you, Cynthia.
Great. Thank you, Pallavi. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. And Sri Kugan, would you like to introduce yourself, where you're calling in from, and why you came today?
Right. Hello, everyone, and a very good morning to all of you. Now I'm coming from Malaysia, and in Malaysia, it's exactly 9:04 a.m. right now. Now, I've been in Toastmasters since 2017. I'm a member of the Oracle Advanced Toastmasters Club, which is based in Penang, Malaysia. And I'm here today to actually learn from you. I'm very passionate about public speaking. I participated in contests here and there. And it's always been one of my aims to be a TED speaker. So I'm today to learn from our Toastmaster, Cynthia. Thank you.
Great. Awesome, awesome. Glad you're here. Okay, and Mohammed Rubel, would you like to introduce yourself, where you're calling in from, and why you came to this call today?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Actually, here is morning. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm a member of Dhaka North Toastmaster Club. Actually, make me interested when I saw the flyer in Facebook on there is a speech on TEDx. So that made me interested to come here. And also, I'm looking for a club, online club, which is conducted meeting every week for me and also my wife. So that's why I just roaming around to checking all the time and dates of the meeting for online clubs. This is also one of the reasons to come here. I'm a mindful breakthrough coach in profession and a high performance coach. I've been working in Bangladesh in coaching and training industry last 1 year. Thank you, everybody.
Wow.
It's lovely to meet all of you. Thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Amazing guests we have today. I'm just so impressed. And Mary, do you want to introduce yourself? You're going to be joining again soon. Hi, Mary. Tell everybody where you're calling in from and why you're here today.
Yeah, hi everyone, Toastmasters and guests, and Cynthia as well. I'm coming in from the Philippines. I'm actually a Malaysian, but I'm living in the Philippines. And the time here is 9:06 a.m. It's our working hours actually. And I'm actually was a member, soon to be a member again of Leaders Worldwide. I've just got caught in between this transition. Right now I'm a member of Toastmasters for Professionals, as I'm a sponsor there. And yeah, I'm here because Michelle reminded me there's a meeting today and she's the TMOD. So yes, I've got to come. Thank you, everyone, and I'm happy to be part of the meeting again.
Yeah, great. And we're hoping you're going to be a part of our TEDx event too, as well. So we're going to be talking about that today. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And did we talk to Shri already? I think we did. The next is Elizane Warren Russ. Elizane? Are you at your microphone?
Away from a computer.
Okay. And Marutesh, would you like to tell us where you're calling in from and why you came to this meeting today?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Marutesh. I'm working as a professor and also I'm an author of a book called The Art of Reinventing You. I'm from India. I joined here to listen for the wonderful speeches in worldwide Toastmasters. Thank you.
Great, great. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. And I think that Elizane is away from her microphone. So great. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our wonderful Toastmaster of the day, Dr. Michelle Pedicolis, and she will tell us about our meeting and the theme of it. Welcome, Michelle. You're on mute.
They always do that. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm the Toastmaster of the day, which means I'm your host, and I will be introducing various people as we go through the meeting today. We generally have 3 parts to the meeting. Today we have 3 parts to the meeting. The first is prepared speeches. The second is unprepared speaking, which we usually call table topics. In this case, it's going to be people asking questions, and then we will have an evaluation of the speaker. The theme for today, the meeting theme, is risky communications. Take a chance and change your life, I guess. It just says change your communication, maybe. And then the word of the day is, I think I'll leave that up to the general evaluator to give you that. I would like, not the general evaluator, the grammarian. I would like to now introduce our general evaluator, Alex Balish. Alex, would you please describe the general evaluator role and invite the grammarian and timer to explain their roles?
Well, no problem. My name is Alex Balish, and greetings, Toastmasters from all over the world, as well as guests. The purpose of the general evaluator is to evaluate everything that takes place throughout the meeting. During the meeting, I will be taking notes on everything that happens or doesn't happen. I'll be evaluating each participant as well as the meeting program and look for good examples and preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, performance duties, and at the end, I will give you my report. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And I have the pleasure of introducing Sally, who's our grammarian, and please tell them your role.
And welcome today. Boy, we have an exciting opportunity. Our future is to learn how to communicate even better, to do the next step. And our word of the day, of course, is communication, and that is to clearly be understood through writing or verbal communication. So please use that in your story. If you can, remember. Thanks. And I will be checking on unnecessary words, if and but. So the more we hear and know how many of these unfortunate, wasteful words, we have room to put the real words in our stories by overcoming those habits. So thank you. It's with pleasure that I get to see the changes that take place when people become aware of the wasted words, because it's wasted time. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally, for communicating the grammarian position. Now I have the pleasure of introducing the timer so you can communicate to the speakers as well as everyone else when we should be starting and stopping. And our timer is Dr. James.
Hello, everyone. So our speaker, Cynthia, will be speaking to us for about 10 minutes, she'll be speaking to us for 10 minutes and giving us some background about our upcoming TEDx event. And at 8 minutes, I will show this card. At 9 minutes, the yellow card, and at 10 minutes, I will show the red card, and Cynthia will have 30 seconds to wrap up. After that will be our question and answer session, and it will be each person will get 2 minutes to ask a question. And so at 1 minute, you'll see the green card, 1.5 minutes, the yellow card, 2 minutes, the red card. Okay, thank you so much. Just a minute. And
Alex, you're muted.
I didn't realize I was coming back. Thank you, Dr. James, for communicating the timer position. And now,
But could I interject for just a second? I'm thinking, can we have a second person time the 10 minutes and then Nadine will just time the 2 minutes per person. But overall, we should have someone that would let us know that 10 minutes were up so we can go to a break. And then when we come back from the break, we can ask more questions. But we just want to make sure that we don't go past 10 minutes until we have our break, because we will get.
Okay, so I thought you were speaking for 10 minutes.
I am speaking for 10 minutes, and then Q&A is supposed to be 10 minutes, and then we have our break.
Oh, I see. 10 minutes of QA. I got it.
Yeah. So if Isaac or Alex could just let us know when 10 minutes have passed. It's hard for Nadine to time both things at once, I think. The 2 minutes per.
Yeah, I can let you know when 10 minutes is up.
Thank you, Isaac, for stepping in.
Back to you.
Thank you. So
back to the Toastmaster.
Yes, back to Toastmaster. Yeah, that's what I was looking. I was looking for the name.
You were looking for me. Okay, so now we are going to begin, and I have an introduction. But before that, I want to say something about the theme of the day, which is communicating with courage, communicating to make a difference, giving risky communication. which as Toastmasters, we often do all the time, especially when we compete in international speech competitions, or even when we give evaluations. All the time, they can be risky. I want you to become aware of that as I introduce our speaker and charter president, Cynthia Stott. Cynthia is going to be giving her speech, which comes from Visionary Communications. It's a level 5 project, moderate a panel discussion. Cynthia Stott, DTM, will share a vision of a TEDx event organized and hosted by the Leaders Worldwide community. She will moderate a panel discussion and welcomes all questions. Cynthia Stott, TEDx and the Leaders Worldwide community, TEDx and the Leaders Worldwide community, Cynthia Stott. Please take the stage.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle Pedicolis. Appreciate that. TEDx and TED, what's the difference and what does TED stand for? It's technology, entertainment, and design. And it was started back in, I think, 1984. They first started having TED Talks. And since then, it has expanded. So they have any idea worth spreading. TEDx, their motto is ideas worth spreading. So it's technology, entertainment, design, and also education, leadership, any idea worth spreading. And they had so many people wanting to speak on TED that they designed a special, well, they started licensing themselves. It's called a TEDx event that is licensed and organized. And that's the type of event that we at Leaders Worldwide in our community are going to organize. TED is not co-branded with Toastmasters. Toastmasters doesn't want to be co-branded with TED. TED doesn't want to be co-branded with Toastmasters. So, but we are a community at Leaders Worldwide. We're a community. And so a community can, if they have a proper license holder, they can organize their own independent event. And it most likely will, they usually are named after a locality. So sometimes TEDx Oakland or TEDx San Francisco. Maybe we could call we don't know yet. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to call it something like Lake Merritt, a location that you name it by. We can't name it by Leaders Worldwide. That's just how we met, and we're a community. So it will be probably a location designed. TED proper, if you want to speak on the TED stage, there's 25,000 auditioners for about 100, maybe 200, 300, maybe 400 positions. In TEDx, we'll probably have 50 or 60 auditioners, maybe at most. And we have our own position. So anybody that passes our audition levels and they are a member of our community, Leaders Worldwide, and they pass the audition, they can speak on TEDx at our event. And there are TEDx events all over the world. Maybe there's one local to you in India, in Bangladesh, in wherever you are in the world. Most likely there is a TEDx event that you could join. So if you speak on TEDx and you speak on TED, which one is going to make you go viral? They both can make you go viral. The most widely viewed TED Talks the first two are from TED proper, global TED. The first one is on education. Do schools kill education? That's the name of it. It's been viewed over 80 million times. The second one is by Amy Covey. That was at a TED event. And she spoke on, I think she calls it how your body position can change your mind or something. She talks about her power postures. I love that speech. And the third one is from TEDx. So this was Simon Sinek, and you may have heard it. It's called Start With Your Why. That's the title we most associate with, but that wasn't the title at the time that he spoke. It was changed and adopted later. It was why leaders lead, or something like that, or how they lead. And it was very informal. It was in Puget Sound, Washington, which is right outside of Seattle, Washington, on a little island. There were about 50 people, maybe a little bit more than that in the room, 50, 100 at most. He was in a plaid shirt, jeans, and he had a flip chart, and he had a bad microphone that he had to change during the middle of it. But his received 50,000 views. 50,000 saw his speech. So whether you speak on TED proper, with hundreds of people in the room, very formalized, or like Simon Sinek, with 50 people in the room, and a bad microphone, you can be on TED and you can go viral. Now, his microphone was faulty, but it didn't distort his speech. His speech was fine to hear before, fine to hear after, and that wasn't the problem. Because if your video is not good, or your audio is not good and it can't be heard, then you will probably not be posted by TED on YouTube or TED.com. And then you have no chance of going viral. So you can go viral if you spoke on TED or you spoke on TEDx, but you can't go viral if TED.com does not post you to YouTube channel or TED or TED.com. A third reason why they won't post you is if your speech doesn't hit the criteria for their standards. And there's a whole litany of standards that they have. And so those three criteria need to be in place. Your video needs to be good, your audio needs to be good, and you need to have the content that is okay with TED. Like you have to have any data, you have to have it sourced, and there's certain subjects that you can't cover. So we'll have that information we have to look at individually so that you don't say something that will cause you to not be posted. And there was a TEDx event that had 25 speakers. Those speakers auditioned for it and they were approved. They spoke at the TEDx event, but they were never posted. Only 5 of them were posted. So 20 people who spoke at TEDx were never posted to YouTube or TED.com. We don't want that to happen to our community here at Leaders Worldwide. We want to make sure your video is good, your audio is good, and that you pass the criteria for your speech. And once it's posted to YouTube, that's when it can go viral. And TED speeches generally go viral because of their titles. Their titles are what helps you go viral. So that's what speaking on TED and TEDx is. Here at Leaders Worldwide, we need to prepare for it. So in August, we're going to have a meeting kind of like this, but probably only our members will be allowed to come. And we're going to talk about TED and how we're going to organize it. Are we going to have coaches? Because you can get coaches that are volunteer that will help you to improve your speeches. Who are we going to have organize our event? Because we need an organizer that doesn't speak at TED.com, TEDx, that organizes it. And if you have a larger event, you're required to have that license holder and organizer has to have been to TED TED.com had been to their TED events and not just a TEDx event. So we have some smaller options because we might have less than 100 people. We probably will, and we'll have more options of who we have. But we need to decide on that, and we need to decide on a theme, and we need to decide on what we're going to call ourselves. You know, Lake Merritt or Oakland or Berkeley, whatever we want to be called. The locale name, we have to come up with that. It can't be Leaders Worldwide. I know that. We're not allowed. And then are we going to have coaches and we have to organize them? Then we're going to spend more time in August, September and October organizing them and bringing the organizer, the license holder here. And in November, hopefully, we will have our auditions, and we're going to audition for 5 to 7 minutes. If they pass that, go to 10 to 12 minutes. If they pass that, then go to 16 to 18 minutes, which is maximum allowed by TED. So we've got lots of things to organize and do. And here at Leaders Worldwide, we also have to have our agenda well organized and ready to go so that we have time to organize our TEDx event. And we're going to be launching a new system for our agenda called Free Toast Host, and we're going to be launching that by the end of the month and be ready to have that agenda on June 5th. Okay, so I'm finished. We can now start the Q&A. And Michelle is our Toastmaster of the day, and she's going to facilitate the questions. So you can raise your hand and make sure you unmute your mic. If you raise your hand and are called upon, you've got to unmute your mic. Raise your hand electronically, not just your physical hand, but you go to the reactions and raise your hand.
If you're shy, you can also post your questions in the chat. Either
Absolutely.
way. So we have a hand raised already.
Oh, great.
So Pallavi has her hand raised. So go ahead.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, Pallavi.
Hey, Cynthia. Wonderful to learn from you. And thank you for explaining it in a very basic format. And I know it's like a timer card I have. My question is twofold. One is pre and post the speech. Now, pre is the preparation, what is required. One I understood, one has to be a paid member of Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. And what else would be required for if I wish to be a TED speaker, whether it is TEDx or TED speaker? What is required? Content designing, like you gave examples of education system or Simon Sinek's speech, which I've heard. So is there any criteria one should keep in mind before even connecting with you to be a contender at least? That's part one. Part two is
let me clarify part one. So you want to know what 3 things? And let's just stop there, and you will have the timer stop. Let's have you ask that question because I can't keep everything in my mind. So those 3 things were what?
In short, preparation before even being a contender. One I understood is to be a member of Leaders Worldwide. What is the preparation required? Is there already a strength of people who are following me, like a followers meet on Instagram or meet any such public presence is required? Or is there anything, there is a criteria that one needs to meet to be at least a contender?
Okay, so what do you need to do to be a part of our TEDx event? Okay, got that.
Yes, ma'am.
And was there something else?
Yes, and what else? You told us about if we are selected, then we'll have a mentor to help us out, coach us. But before that, anything else that is required apart from the speech? Is there anything like examples you gave of education system, Simon Sinek's speech? Is there any particular criteria of the content as well?
Your question's way too complicated for me. I need to answer. Yeah, please. I would ask that you post your questions in the chat because you've got a lot of questions. You just need to post them in the chat. Okay. I'm going to do my best. So we stop the timer. And
so the first question, Cynthia, is that she wants to know if there's any other criteria in order to be eligible for being in this contest, besides being a member, paying member of Leaders Worldwide.
Okay.
And
So
I think she also understands that you have to actually audition before you can also speak.
Yeah, I'll go into that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's just pause. Don't shoot 10 questions at me at one time. Just one at a time here. First of all, yes, we require that you become a member of Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. That does not mean that TED and Toastmasters are co-branded together or anything. It's just our community is Leaders Worldwide. And as a community, if you want to join us and be preparing for our TEDx event and be a part of our TEDx event, you need to join as a member. So member first. Number two, you're going to have to pass an audition. And our auditions are a little different. We're going to have 3 levels of speeches at our TEDx event. All TEDx events are basically at least 5 minutes and up to 18 minutes. That's the max, supposedly by TED. Some are a little bit longer, but they're much more stringent right now about it being no more than 18 minutes. The first audition that you will experience as a member of your TEDx event will be a 5 to 7 minute, 7 minutes, 30 seconds max speech. If you pass the audition, it's not like a first, second, and third winner. It's just passing the audition. Then you can either stop there and give a 5 to 7 minute TED Talk at our event, or you can go on and expand that same speech at the same topic, expanded to 10 to 12 minutes. And then audition that. If you pass it, then you can either give 10 to 12 minute speech, or you can audition again by expanding your speech to 16 to 18 minutes and giving a no more than 18 minutes, no 30-second leeway because of TED, 18-minute speech. That way, our longest speeches will be our best speakers and our best speeches, because they will have gone through at least 3 auditions.
Maybe.
Okay, does that make?
Or it could also mean that somebody decides that the best way for them to communicate their message is in a 5 to 7 minute speech.
Yeah, but they won't have to go through any more auditions.
Exactly. Well, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yes. So, yeah, they could be an excellent speaker, and it could be an excellent speech at the 5 to 7 minute limit. But the longest speeches will have had to go through at least three auditions. Yeah. So Pallavi, does that make sense? I just want
Absolutely.
to any questions on that part?
Yes, another question would be, when the 3 levels of qualifying, the first level is like 5-minute speech. Is there a specific way TED expects you to design your speech? Like if I want to talk about my life story, it can be something that can inspire people.
So you can read up on TED. He has this, there is a book on TED. Yeah, so Pallavi's will be finished after this, but I'll answer the question. Chris Anderson, who founded TED, has a book on speaking on TED, and you can get that book and practice that. We also have, we've been practicing our TED events. We've been practicing our TED speeches and crafting them. The main thing is that TED is one idea worth spreading. One, not 3, not 10. One idea worth spreading. So we're actually, I was thinking we might do a a table topics session where it's only 2 minutes and you get to share your idea in 2 minutes. Because if you audition for TED proper, they make you give a 2-minute version of your idea worth spreading in just 2 minutes. So the main thing is that you need it sharp, to the point. You have to use vocal variety. You have to use all the wonderful techniques that we learn in Toastmasters to make a good speech. But it has to be around one idea worth spreading. It has to be clear what your idea is and why you're the one sharing it. Great.
Awesome.
So Pallavi, great questions. Thank you so much. How are we doing in terms of our time towards 10 minutes of questioning, QA?
Phil has about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Was the total amount of questions to be just 10 minutes?
10 minutes. 10
Before the
minutes.
break.
Oh,
Before the break. Yeah. Anyone else have a question? You can raise your hand.
Or you can put it in the chat.
And Pallavi, did you delineate any other questions in the chat for us that would really help?
Not yet.
Because then I know what you're asking. Anybody else have a question?
Yes,
Dee
Alex has
Marie.
a question.
Alex, there, great. Alex. Yes.
You're muted, Alex.
Yeah, I know. I've just realized that. How many speakers are you ideally looking to have to make this beneficial? What's the typical number of speakers?
It depends. Usually it's a 1-day, all-day event. And that will be some of the things that we'll decide in August and even November after we get our auditions. What I'm thinking is we'll probably have between 10 and 20 speakers at an event. And if we have more than that, we might have another event, maybe in 3 months, because you can always have another event. So I don't think we weren't designing it so that we would limit people. We want to have as many, just like we did for our speech competition. We had 14 speakers in less than 3 hours. It was only 2.5 hours. We had quite a few speakers. So we want everyone to have a chance to speak, and it will be like 5 minutes, some 10 to 15, 10 to 12 minutes, and 16 to 18 minutes. So we'll have a variety there. And recently there was an event that had 25 speakers, but only 5 speakers made it to YouTube. And we do not want that to happen. We want everyone to make it to YouTube, but there's a certain amount of your responsibility and our responsibility.
We have another question in the chat, and this is from Melazine, and she says, are all the auditions done at one event?
No, there will
No.
probably be over time, is what I'm thinking. Maybe in November, we'll have several meetings scheduled where we'll hear, I don't know how many we can do in our 2.5 hour time, our 2-hour meeting, but we'll get through the auditions. And we are not limited. They'll probably be during our regular meeting time, which is 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the first and third Monday, and 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the second and fourth Monday is in Pacific time, California time.
So Pallavi has another question. Is there any challenge with the geography one comes from to join Leaders Worldwide and participate in TED? Like, I'm from India. So that's one of the beauties about Leaders Worldwide is we actually meet 2 different times in the month. So go ahead,
Yes,
Cynthia.
absolutely. So I did find out recently that TED is allowing both in-person events and virtual events. Right now, that's what they have said. Before COVID, it was in person. During COVID, it was only virtual. But right now they're allowing both. And I hope they stay that way. That said, if it's virtual, we can have any country, just like today we have Malaysia, India, Bangladesh, the Philippines, we have, and all over the US. We're very international. So if it stays virtual, we would be allowed to do that. And that would be cheaper because we wouldn't have a location. We'd have to pay for it in order to hold the event. We wouldn't have to pay a videographer. It's costs a lot of money to get a good videographer. We wouldn't have to have a sound system. And we wouldn't have to have that staging and everything. So that would be a lot more expensive in person. If virtually, we're hoping for that, and then we will take it as it comes. That's what we're going to decide and work on in August. If we have to hold it in person, then we probably would hold satellite events, maybe one in Silicon Valley, which is where we're located here. I'm located here, Michelle. The San Francisco Bay Area is kind of our home base where we started from. And we have spaces that we could rent in Silicon Valley or San Francisco or whatever, but that's a lot more expensive. And we could have satellites over on the East Coast of the United States, one in India. We could have satellites all around the world, but it costs a lot more to do an event in person.
Isaac has his hand up. Is that just for being a timer, or do you have a question, Isaac?
It's for being a timer. Just so
okay.
you can see it.
Okay.
And the same thing for Nadine?
Nadine, do you have a question? Doesn't look like it. All right.
Okay.
Just timing. I'm
Okay.
sorry, put my hand down when Isaac puts his on.
Okay, does anyone else have a question or a question in the chat, like Rosalind or Dee Marie?
Not so far.
Okay. No more questions, and I answered all the questions in the chat. Is that correct?
That's correct at this point in time.
Okay, so then I think we can probably take our break, and then we'll come back. If there's any more, we'll check if there's any more questions.
Right.
We'll go on to that, and then we have other sections that we're going to have, like an evaluation and all sorts of juicy things.
Okay, so we are going to take a break, a 5-minute break, and Nadine, would you put 5 minutes on the clock for us so that we know when to come back? And that would probably put us back at my time, 6:47. No, 6:48. 6:48. So almost 10 to the next hour, which for us is 7 o'clock out here.
Great.
All
5
right.
minutes. Enjoy your break.
Oh, not to five. Yeah, that's correct. Almost. 8:48.
And great questions, everyone. I do want to make sure, Michelle and Isaac, can we put a G on Rosemary's name, please? A G in front of her name, and we'll take a picture so we can capture her as a guest also. So we'll have Rosemary and Mary Thomas as our guests, and then they will become members after. Michelle or Isaac, can you change Rosemary's name to a G? Okay, I've got my water. I'm ready to go whenever our 5 minutes is up.
Time's up.
Okay, and Isaac and Michelle, we need to put a G in front of Rosemary's name.
It does have one.
Oh, it does. Okay, good. I didn't catch it. Yeah. And okay, and then if we could take another picture with Rosemary and then also Mary Thomas.
Yes, so let me see, has everybody got their names? Okay, anybody want to put their pictures on? I'm going to take another picture, another screenshot. Okay.
Cynthia, video is not on.
Cynthia's video.
Videos don't have to be on.
Oh.
They're nice if they are, but they're not required.
That's right. As long as we've got your name.
Okay, we've got two. Okay.
I gave you a bunch of questions.
Great. I saw you have some great questions. Okay, you want to read them off?
Sure.
The first one, just one at a time, please.
Of course. My first question is, how is Leaders Worldwide going to find the organizer, and how many people will he or she need on the TEDx team?
Okay, so one question, question.
Okay.
One question at a time. The first one is just, how are we going to find the organizer?
Right.
Okay, so we have two options. If it's our event has over 100 attendees, we're required to have an organizer and that holds a license that have certain criteria, including that they've been to a TED event in person. So a TED proper event in person, not a TEDx event, but TED proper event in person. And then there's some other things that they need to follow. Usually, if they're over 100 people and a license holder will be someone that has organized an event before. That's an option. The second one, if it's less than 100 people, you have more options, and they don't have to have been at a TED event proper in order to hold the license. So it's more open. I don't know exactly all the details. That's what we're going to find out in August. We're going to do with the study and the organizing and considering all of this stuff starting in August. If our agenda is met in July, then we will start it in August. If it's not met in July, we'll have to delay till September. We need to make sure that we get an agenda that's driven by our members signing up for speeches, signing up for evaluations, signing up for timer, all those things, and that they get their title of their speech, their project in pathways of their speech, what that is, and their introduction. That has to all be prepped and ready to go in the agenda and driven by our members, not expecting the VPE or me to be the one making sure everybody's dotted their I's and crossed their T's. So we have to get that done in July, and then we can go ahead with our organizing in August. My preference on an organizer, my preference is, regardless of our audience size, is that we find someone who has organized a TEDx event before, because they have lots of knowledge and wisdom that they've acquired. They know how they've brought coaches on. They know how the audition has gone. They have all the things that you have questions about and I have questions about. They will have the answers. And I am aware of a couple of people that have organized events prior, but I don't know if they'll say yes or no. So first we have to talk about it as a community, talk about what type of organizer we want, and then we'll start pursuing them. And does that answer your question on organizers?
Yes, it sounds like it wouldn't be necessarily somebody who's a Toastmaster.
No, I don't think that would be any requirement for us, that we have a Toastmaster. I think that would be very limiting if we made it a Toastmaster, and they definitely wouldn't have to be a part of our membership at Leaders Worldwide.
Okay. And would they require payment?
Of what?
Money for their time and organizing. It's a lot of work.
No, organizers do not get paid.
I see.
By TED has rules about that. No, it's a cost basis only. All of them are volunteer, just like Toastmasters. And the coaches are also volunteer. So there's a lot of different things, but they're volunteer. And that's why a lot of organizers don't want to be an organizer, because it's a lot of time and effort and energy. What was your second question?
Well, the second one is moot, because I had asked if the person who was an organizer would use this as a high performance leadership project, but clearly that's not relevant.
They could.
And then the next one, would the organizer be organizing the auditions, or would that be handled by the TMOD for a particular meeting? That is, would we just handle that as part of a regular meeting, or would the organizer also be organizing the auditions?
What I imagine is that it will be part of our regular meeting, but it's again, my imagination. We're going to decide all that in August, September, and October. We're going to decide all this stuff. And then November, we should hopefully have the auditions held.
Okay, and now Rosalind has her hand up. Go ahead, Rosalind.
Okay.
Having been a member and volunteered on numerous TED events, the organizer has a committee. He doesn't do everything. He's just kind of like the leader of the orchestra. He has a committee, and the committee goes ahead and gets them together. They pick them out, and it's a very long process. So as noted, here we are in May, and we're talking about November. That's pretty standard, pretty typical. But everybody has an integral role. In the events that I was involved in, we met every weekend of the year, every Saturday and Sunday for a whole entire year. And that was the commitment that you went ahead and made. I was on the operations side of that. That meant that when the TED event happened, I helped make sure things were in its place, but I was always interested in a speaker. So I migrated to that position, and I helped them find the people who coached them on their speeches and things like that, and ended up, I think, working with some of them as a coach and so on and so forth. So the biggest key for everyone here is volunteer. Look at where the TEDx are in your neighborhood, become a volunteer and go there to get that experience so you could add something to what you want the event to look like.
And how
Great.
large is a team generally?
It really depends. You know, one of the greatest things of my experience is the gentleman that Cynthia knows had always invited us to the TED organizers meeting, and being I would go. And that's where the doors really opened for me. So we got to go to the San Diego, there are certain ones that are keys for their really successful ones: Manhattan Beach, San Diego, San Francisco, et cetera, that are known. And so when you look at that one, there's, 50 to 100. I can't tell you how many. There was just a lot of people, because a lot of people. In ours, we probably had maybe 75 or 100, and maybe there was, 200 people that went ahead and showed. And you also have to understand that they don't always make money. And so you've got to be careful and cautious about what you spend your money on, because you got to be able to make it come back.
So I have one other question. That was that at one point, Cynthia said that if the TEDx event was less than 100, then you didn't have to have a license. You had to have a licensed person, but they didn't have to actually have attended a real in-person TED event. What do you count the 100 attendees? Is that the 100 speakers, or is that altogether who's going to show up for your event?
I think we would have to consult, and we're going to do this in August, consult the TED documents and ask TED what that means, how to count it. I would imagine that it was total people at the event, including the speakers and staff and whoever.
Okay.
So
anybody else have a question? I think we're out of time, but I wanted to open it up if anybody else had some questions. Seems like we have covered it.
Okay. So there's no other questions. You got all the ones in the chat.
Yes,
okay.
They were mainly, well, the ones in the chat were mostly mine at this point. So
okay.
I hope that was helpful.
Great. And then we have a guest WhatsApp group, and I posted that in the chat. Does everybody see that? You can join the guest WhatsApp group. So if you have a question, you can post it in our guest WhatsApp group. I wanted to know what you're doing about this for TED. That's fine. If you're a member of Leaders Worldwide, you can post it in our members group, so that we all can see the questions and answer the questions. And many of the questions, I think many of you will have, and we don't know the answer until August. That's when we're going to really start organizing, and we're going to start planning what we want and finding out what TED wants. What are the TED rules? And really analyzing those. It's going to be the rules for TED and their rules for the TED speeches are a bit like law. You have to really listen to it, look at it, read it, and digest it. And we might have to follow up with some TED staffers, asking them some questions. And especially if we have a TED organizer that has done this before, it'd be great because they can probably answer some of the questions that we have, because it's a little bit hard to get the answers out of the TED staffers. But I'm sure we'll want to ask that information as well. So no more questions, then you can post them in the WhatsApp group, or you can ask me directly if you have my number. There's another question that just popped up.
One question, these auditions will be with TED or TEDx? I think we're going for a TEDx event, right?
We can only go for TEDx event. TED only organizes TED events. TED proper, TED staffers organize TED events, and that's a totally different ball game than a TEDx event. TEDx events have criteria for all TEDx events, but TED proper has a different criteria. And if you want to go for that, it's really tough to get an audition passed. It's 25,000 people at minimum are auditioning for 100 to probably 500 seats. It's very tough, very, very tough. And you have to submit a video that's only 2 minutes long. That is your first criteria of audition. So they have their own audition. We won't require a 2-minute video. We'll have paperwork probably for the audition, and then the actual audition where you pass it, where you give your speech and we say yay or nay. And I imagine, because I don't know, because we haven't planned this yet, that's not happening until August, but I imagine that voters would be us and guests, and we would probably invite the organizer, would probably have the say in the auditions, and maybe some more people that will going to be our coaches would have a chance to have a say in a vote for the auditioners. I don't know, but we will have to plan how that's going to be done in August. We're going to start the planning then.
Rosalind's has her hands up. Rosalind?
Okay.
So, like I said, there's in the ones I've been, and this is just my experience, it's not the rule. And the ones I experienced, there was the speakers organized, the kind of the organizing committee, and they were the ones that went through and looked at them, and they were the people that did that. It really was.
Wait. You said the speakers?
The people who wanted to be speakers.
Okay.
Petitioned. They sent in a video, and there was a group.
A 2-minute video?
Whatever the video was, and there was a group of people who were on a committee to evaluate the speakers that were going to be for this conference.
But they were not speakers themselves.
No, you couldn't be a speaker and evaluate the speakers. No.
Okay. Yes. So the speakers can't evaluate at the same time. Yes.
Right. So it was the committee that did the evaluation of them.
Yeah. And the people on the committee weren't speakers.
Right.
We may not have that. We may all be have our organizing committee, and then have additional people that are not a part of our event that are organizers, and then coaches, and the actual organizer license holder will be separate from our event because they cannot speak at the event. So all of that is up in the air. We have to decide, and we have to decide how we want it. Because a lot of our organizing is getting people ready. And that's what we're doing at our Toastmasters meetings every week. is we have people speaking and we have people evaluating them. So they're helping them to improve. We've got timers so they aren't going to go overtime. We have grammarians so that their speech is properly done. They're not giving ums and ahs and ands and filler words. It's all adding up into it. Was there any more questions? Michelle?
No.
Nope. Okay, then I think it's back to you, Michelle, as our Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're very welcome, Cynthia. And I believe we need to put a minute on the clock for our speech evaluator, Isaac Ford, to write down his notes. Isaac, do you need a minute to write down your notes?
No, excuse me. No, I think I'm good.
Okay, great. Then.
And we just had a message in the chat.
Carolyn has to leave. Good luck, everyone.
Oh, Carolyn Douglas. Oh, great.
Right. So.
And she was here.
Yes. I would now like to introduce again the general evaluator, Alex. Oh, is Alex still here? Yes, you are. Yay!
I am here. Yeah.
Yes, so he's our general evaluator, and you're going to introduce this part of the segment and call on the timers and
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, before you do that, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. We need to have Isaac go ahead and evaluate the speech. Then I bring you back on. Sorry. Or you can.
No, you were right. You were right. It goes back to the general evaluator, and then he's gonna do everything.
You do everything. You got it.
Yeah.
He's gonna that chocolate ball to you. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I got no problem. I was just reading the thing. So I want to call for the timer for the evaluation time, and then call for the evaluators. So Dr. Where is she?
Nadine.
I just don't see her. Dr. Nadine, could you give the time for the evaluator?
The evaluator.
Dr. Nadine, it's 3 minutes as tops. So you do 2.5, 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Yes, hold on, I see it. Okay, so at 2 minutes.
The green.
I'm sorry?
Perfect. The green, you've got it right.
Green, right. At
2.5
minutes. At 2.5 minutes, yellow, and at 3 minutes, the red. And Isaac will have 30 seconds to complete his saying.
Perfect.
Isaac, could you please give your evaluation of Cynthia?
Great. Thank you for that, Mr. GE. Okay, Cynthia was speaking from the Persuasive Influence project number 5 to moderate a panel discussion. And it gives me some things to go by, which the first one was how well she knew her information. And you definitely knew the information, Cynthia. You actually, it seems like you enjoyed this because you were so energetic about explaining it. And you knew a lot, you had a lot of questions, and there were a lot of good questions that came in. So I thought you did a great job on moderating the discussions and that you were well prepared for this project. And, you know, I didn't have a lot of things that I could see that you needed to do. And I don't know if this is even possible, but if there was some way that you had some prepared questions, questions that you knew would come up or should come up on stuff that people might have needed to know. That way you could have just addressed those and you know, just to keep it flowing, because I know there were questions in people's minds, but they just didn't post it. So maybe if you could do that beforehand, it would help it run a lot smoother, because I know it's kind of embarrassing to ask for questions. And it's like, you know, people have questions, but nobody's willing to raise their hand. So that was one suggestion that I would give. But, you know, I just know that you really enjoy and you really are pushing hard to make this TEDx project go and work. And I think as a member, I can see how enthusiastic you are about that. And I'm so glad that I reached my time. So because I don't have a lot to say, I always get involved in your speeches until I really don't have a lot of notes to write. So all I could say is keep on going, Cynthia. I think everybody's behind you. Back to you, Mr. GE.
Alex, you're
And it helps
muted.
if you actually press the button so you
Oh,
can thank you
oh my gosh.
properly. And that being said, it goes back to the Toastmaster of the day, Michelle.
No, you need reports from the timer and the grammarian.
Okay, I'm
And then
just going by
tell
I'm just
us.
going by the list. That being said, okay, we'll go right into the reports. Dr. Nadine, why don't you give us the report of the timer?
Can you do Sally first? Let me just write them down.
You got it. That said, we're going to communicate to Sally first on how did we do today grammatically?
Well, this was a little harder to catch this time.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure because people were not fully prepared to use the words, but we did pretty well. And Cynthia, of course, used about over 3 or 4 communication words, and Michelle 1, Alex 1, and we have several ums from Mohammed and Sally and Alex. So it's not as good as normal, but please forgive me. It was a little rough keeping track, but people are communicating, which is the most important thing today, and figure out, maybe keep lists of their questions beforehand so that it is not so difficult to find the right question and do it quicker. Thank you.
You got it. So let's get back to the timer. Are you ready to present your report, Dr. Nadine?
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
I don't know the lady who was there. I don't know her name. Yeah, it's okay. All right. So for Michelle's time was 3 minutes and 52 seconds because she kept asking questions at the pause and keep going. Rosalind was 3:32. Isaac was 2:31. Cynthia, your speech was 10 minutes and 5 seconds. And where's that lady? The
Was that Pallavi?
yeah, hers went over as well. I did not get that one because I wasn't in the flow at the time.
Well, because
fine.
it kept on breaking up and
Yes.
Cynthia would ask different parts, but Pallavi is interested
Okay.
in joining Leaders Worldwide, by the way. You're muted, Cynthia.
Awesome. And did Pallavi had to leave already?
Yes, and I have her information.
Oh, you do. Wonderful. Thank you.
And the short ones, I wasn't able to time those because it was, they
They were short.
very quickly.
They were fine. Whatever. Okay.
Well, thank you for that report. I believe it's time for my general evaluator report. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. And 3 minutes or less, please.
3 minutes or less. So this was a very interesting meeting and we were really on our toes. I believe that, like always, the schedule likes to change every so often. So we need to do a lot more communicating than I think we could have done in terms of the schedule, but it's like a Toastmasters meeting. So that's what we do. That being said, we have some people in some new roles, myself and Dr. Nadine. So we got to give a little grace to us. Hopefully we know what the heck we're doing. And I know timer is never a easy job, and that's why I'm avoiding it like the plague. That said, I think that, it was great to see Isaac stepping up right away, because he always does, to get that extra timer. And I can't, thank Cynthia for welcoming everybody so warmly, all the guests, and making sure that we were on task. All in all, I think it was a good meeting, but like anything, we always can try to get better. So I can't wait for the next meeting so we can be even better. And I really want to thank everybody, all the guests, for coming. Back to you, Toastmaster. Or no, the VPE. I'm sorry.
So that's Cynthia.
Cynthia,
And-
it's all about you.
Yep. And Tifa's not here, so I will take that role. So we have some roles because we had our original pods set up. We have, for speakers, we have Maya Catherine.
Wait. If you want me to take notes on this.
Sorry. Yeah. And
this
I
is for which date?
I misspoke. That was the May 8th, but now it's May 27. We don't have any speakers scheduled, but we do have Maya Catherine is the the table topics master. And we don't have anybody set up for the TMOD and the timer and the grammarian. Sally, do you want to be grammarian on the 22nd?
Be fine, thank you.
Oh, great. So we have a grammarian. Does anyone want to be a timer? And then we can do
I'll be the timer. Mario, if you're the timer.
Mario? Okay,
Yep.
and that's at the 20th. Well, wait a second. Yeah, 22nd is next Monday. It's 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Is that convenient for you, Mario? Is that time okay?
Yes.
Okay, and I do have Mario's contact information.
Right.
But Mario, and what's your last name? I don't have that handy.
Mario, what's your last name, please?
I will send it in the chat.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Mario, we are Toastmaster of a table topics. No, timer, and Maya will be the table topics master. Sally will be the grammarian.
TMOD.
The TMOD, and it's usually a combined TMOD GE.
Okay.
If you need another GE, I can do that.
You can do that. Okay. Do you want to be the GE? Then let's put you down as the GE, and you can have another chance to do that. And then we'll find somebody to be a Toastmaster, and perhaps, I don't know if we have anybody else. So we also need speakers. We have 4 speaker evaluator slots. So hopefully they can speak and evaluate.
I'll do one.
Rosalind, can you say?
Yeah, I just want to.
So Rosalind, both speak and evaluate, Rosalind?
Of course.
Of course, she said.
Yes. And Nadine also speak and evaluate?
Yes.
Great. So we have 2 speakers, evaluators, and we have room for another.
I could be a speaker.
Awesome.
Oh, and evaluator?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have 3. There we still have 1 spot. We have room for 4. Any other takers?
I just didn't want to evaluate if I'm going to do GE. That's all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But
So
you know what? If somebody else has if I want to give somebody else an opportunity, that's fine. I can do either or.
Alex, I find that it's really good to take a role and do it twice in a row.
No, I'm
to-
just saying I just didn't want to speak and evaluate and GE.
Oh,
That's my
absolutely.
point.
No, you
Oh,
don't. wanna
no,
do that.
that's too much to
That's
do
what
all
I
at once.
that's what I said. And then that's why I said
Yeah.
if
If
whatever.
you could be the GE, that would be great.
Well, that's fine.
And
That's fine. Then
and
I'll do
maybe
that.
at the
I'm gonna
evening session, you can take on, at the June meeting, you can take on a speech and
slash.
possibly evaluate at the same time. And then you would be able to leave before the break. and not have to stay for the entire evening because it's late for you. I know.
I'm going to hit the road.
Great. Excellent. Okay. Okay. So we still need a TMOD. We have the GE, but we need a TMOD and we have room for one more speaker evaluator. Is that right, Michelle?
Correct.
Okay. So we're all set for that. Now we come to our takeaways and chocolates time. I'd like to tap into our guests especially. So Shri Kugan, would you like to share what you're taking away with you? What did you learn at this event?
Well, I think the biggest thing I've learned today is I'm one step closer to becoming a TED speaker. Because prior to this, I've always wanted to be a TED speaker, but I didn't know anything about it. So today, I see something. I'm not there yet, but I'm one step closer. So thank you very much, Toastmasters Cynthia, for that information. And thank you very much to the Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club for hosting this wonderful event today. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And our tradition here at Leaders Worldwide is that we have takeaways, which you just gave us your takeaway, and then we offer you a treat, virtual chocolate or any other treat virtually. Would you like any treat from us? Chocolates or maybe a juicy mango or pie, whatever you want.
No, it's okay. I'm good. I'm good.
You're good. Okay. No sugar, no guilt.
No
They're all-
calories.
no calories. Yeah.
I appreciate the hospitality. The hospitality, it's enough for me. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. And let's see if we have any other guests here.
Luan?
Luan. Hi,
Hi.
Luan. What are you taking away with you today?
Yeah, I've learned from you what TEDx is all about. I don't really familiar with this TEDx, but from what I've heard today, it's all about speaking and all that. So it's an amazing meeting today. I've got a lot of information from you, and also, yeah, it's a great meeting. Thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you're going to be giving your icebreaker on Tuesday. So you are a professional speaker.
Yeah, it's 3:00 Malaysia time tomorrow morning.
Yes. Wow. 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 And what treat would you like? You want to eat some chocolate, mango, peach cobbler?
I always love to have chocolate.
Woo. And would you like dark chocolate or milk chocolate? Anything on your chocolate?
Dark chocolate is good for my heart.
Yes. Yes. Well, here's
ready
my favorite Belgian dark chocolate. I've got some right here for you. You ready for it? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Enjoy your chocolate.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's all our guests. So I'm going to tap into our members. Dee Marie, did you want to share your takeaways from today's meeting?
So I had some questions, but before I could ask them, someone else had asked that question, so I didn't have to ask them, and I got the answer. Thank you, because I wanted to know if the coaches were affiliated with TEDx, because you said they were free, but were these people who were knowledgeable of TEDx that was coaching us, or just a coach?
I think, well, they vary. And there was a person that told me that he was a TEDx coach, and I wouldn't allow him to be a TEDx coach at Leaders Worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah, and he even asked me, and I said, no, not going to go for that. But that's why we're going to organize it and find out. And that's why I think it would be great to tap into someone that's done a TEDx event before, so they know what coaches there are. And I know there are many Toastmasters that have coached as TEDx coaches, and we might be able to tap into it. I know Michelle has been to an advanced Toastmasters club that she really likes their evaluations, maybe we would ask some of their members to be our coaches.
Exactly.
For
But I
TEDx.
enjoyed the meeting. I enjoyed the meeting.
Great. Excellent. Would you like a chocolate or some other treat?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I just finished a cup of tea. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Awesome. And how about you, Isaac? What are you taking away with you?
Well, I'm taking away the fact that TEDx seems like a great way to really get your message out. If you've got something that you're passionate about, and I'm sure if you're passionate about it, there's going to be some other people out there that may be passionate about it. So thanks for that. And that would be my takeaway. And for dessert, I was at Marie Callender's yesterday, and my mouth was just watering with this double blueberry cheese pie.
Oh!
So I don't know if you have any of that in your bag, but please send that my way.
A double blueberry cheesecake. Okay. But first, I want to talk a little bit about TEDx, and I'm surprised no one had this question. How do you go viral? How do you know that your speech will go viral, that anybody wants to listen to what I have to say? Number one, there's probably a TED speech out there somewhat on your topic. You can see that and check into that to see what the temperature is for how much are people hungry for this information. Number two, your title is what makes it go viral. You want a person to be able to put TED and some keywords. So think of keywords that your speech would be related to. Maybe for you, Isaac, you're on walking or health, exercise would be some of the keywords. And then you need to come up with a pithy title so that when your title pops up, the keywords pull it up, but then the pithy title makes them go, oh, what's that one? Click. That's when you're going to go viral, when people say click. And the trick to having that, what I've heard for making your TED go viral is within the first 24, 48, 72 hours, pretty short, you need to bring the views up to at least 1,000. So you have your TEDx event, you've auditioned, you have your TEDx event, you speak on TEDx, and then you have to wait another 6 weeks, 8 weeks for TED to review your speeches and post it onto YouTube. And they post all of the speeches pretty much within the same time. And so you'll wait for it to go on TED and you go, they're posting it. I'm glad they posted it. And then you'll get that video, and then you're going to send it to your friends, your family, your social media network, and you're going to try to drive that views up to 1,000 as quick as you can, because then YouTube algorithm will pick it up and start posting it and giving people suggestions to watch it. And that will happen between 1,000 and 50,000. And at 50,000, there's some other tricks that you could do to make it go to 1 million. So you gotta push it. You don't just sit back and wait. You don't give your speech and say, I'm done. No. The work has just begun, because you need to make it go viral, because you don't want to have a TED speech that's watched 50 times. What's the point in that? That's not spreading your idea to the world. That's what TED is about. It's ideas worth spreading that are spread. Does that make sense for you, Isaac?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Great. And I love your suggestion that I should have questions like that in the wings, just waiting and prepared in case people don't have other questions. Awesome. So now my double blueberry cheesecake, is that it?
Yes, double blueberry cream cheesecake.
Oh my.
Cream.
Gotta put that cream in there and that cheese.
So I'm salivating. Okay, the cream and the cheese and whoa, gooey, ooey gooey chewy. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3, woo!
All
Be
over
careful
your
it
face.
doesn't splatter. I love that. I love that. I love that. Awesome. And how about you, Dr. Nadine? What are you taking away with you?
Well, Isaac asked a really good question, which gave me a question because this whole time I didn't really have a question. And so my question is, given your answer about being active in terms of, or proactive in terms of getting the video to go viral, are we going to get trained on how to make our video go viral prior to, during, after? At what point are we going to get the suggestions on how to get our videos to go viral?
That's a really good question. And the answer at most TED events is you get no help with making it go viral. None at all. None at all. But our TEDx event is going to have me, Cynthia Stott. And what am I? I'm a global visibility influencer with over 50,000 followers in 140 plus countries. So, I'm going to give you some training. I'll probably give a webinar on my system, a teleseminar that's free separately. And then I'll offer a paid program to do it because it's not easy. It's not easy to make it go viral. And I've made many videos go up to 1,000 plus, and I have many tips and tricks and techniques to do it, but that's a deeper program. But I will give some basic level training, not training, basic level information, and you could run with that or you could take my program. But something that events ever. So I didn't talk about this either. The reason I know is because I've attended webinars from a man that has a whole program. And when I first heard about his program, it was $7,000 per person to get booked on TEDx and to give them some training on that, a little bit on their speech, a little bit on the virability of it, a little bit for $7,000. Recently, I listened to another one of his events, and I actually had a phone call with one of his coaches, and I found out it's not $7,000. It's $10,800. And by the way, you get a discount of $1,000 if you pay in full. So it's $10,800 if you have 2 payments, and it's $9,800 if you have 1 payment. So elbow grease that we're going to do at Leaders Worldwide versus basically $10,000 or $11,000. And that's the reason why I decided to have the event at Leaders Worldwide, because I heard from him, and I've seen it's very difficult to find a TEDx event that you can speak at. You might be lucky enough. Maybe they're in your backyard. I have a friend that he lives in India, and he found a TEDx event, which then wanted him to charge him money. I think it was too much for his wallet. So that's the case. And we're going to try to keep those funds down. We're going to, you have to be a member of Leaders Worldwide to be in our community, but we're going to try to keep all other costs down by having it a virtual event, etc. And we don't know what we're going to have to charge. Starting in August, we're going to look into that and what we're going to need to do it. Now, Leaders Worldwide is a part of your membership. You get a Zoom account with Zoom registration that we already pay for out of our rebates that we get from our district. So we have a Zoom account. We have a Canva account, Pro account. We have things that will cover what we need. And if we need more things, we might have money to cover it with our open houses and that sort of thing. So you're getting a lot for not a lot of money, but you have to put the elbow grease in yourself. That's why we're saying you have to do the agenda. You have to be ready to go and to volunteer, to be the general evaluator, whatever we need. And you'll get your chance to have a speaking opportunity too. We have to even that out and make sure that everybody has an even playing field as far as the agenda goes, to be able to speak and to be able to have roles. And I will give you some free information, not training, but free information about going viral. And then I'll probably have a program that's extra, that's additional. That's not a Leaders Worldwide thing. That's a Cynthia Stott thing. And you can learn how to go viral, and it will work. Those viral tips will work for your TED Talk as well as anything else you want to do. So does that answer your question, Nadine?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
other TEDx events and TED, they don't give you support on going viral. Even TED doesn't. When you are a TED speaker, you're still on your own. You're on your own, except that they post you on to TED.com and to YouTube, and automatically that already makes you have a chance to go viral. But you got to do stuff to make it happen. And what would you like as a treat? Chocolate or that
No.
wonderful cream pie?
No cream pie, no cheesecake. You know I don't like cheesecake.
Okay. And we also have fruit like mangoes.
No, nothing tonight. Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight. Okay.
I ate too much yesterday.
Ours are virtual. There's no calories, no sugar. Okay. Thank you so much, Nadine. And thank you for being our amazing timer.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay.
Okay. And Rosalind, are you there? Did you want to share your takeaway, what you're learning, what you learned during this meeting, and what you're taking away with you? I think Rosalind and Michelle are our last ones that haven't spoken. Maybe Rosalind's away. Michelle, would you like to share your takeaway?
I got a lot greater clarity about what's involved in doing the TEDx event within the leadership or Leaders Worldwide community. And I understand what still needs to be decided. And I liked the information you got about how to go viral. I thought that was a very useful bit of information just here and now. It was very useful for how we put our information out and send it to other people when it's really important. And certainly a TEDx event is something, or there would be something you could share to all your family and family friends and everybody, because that would be something really special. So I liked that you put that part in, because I think that's really important, is, you want it to go viral because you want more people to hear.
So wait, what wasn't clear for me, and I'm just hearing it in Michelle's conversation. So can we invite people to be a part of this TEDx event, or do they actually, if we invite them in, they have to become members of Leaders Worldwide to be a part of this TEDx event?
Wow. So we have to decide that as a group.
Okay.
They cannot be a speaker unless they're a member.
Okay.
That's what we've already established.
Right.
But they could be a guest and join for the event. And I've even thought, again, it's my thinking, it's not set in stone, we have to decide. But I thought, wouldn't it be spectacular if we had a table topic session? And that would not go on to YouTube, but it could be a part of our event so that our audience can participate and speak in table topics, sharing their idea we're spreading in 2 minutes.
But Cynthia, if you're going to have 10 to 20 speakers, I'm not sure if you'll be able to have that table topics with 10 to 20.
That's exactly, we have to decide it. We have to decide it. how many speakers, how many events, how many speakers at what level. All of that is up in the air. But most TEDx events do have an audience. So you can have a virtual audience, but the only requirement that I've heard from TED, and we have to look into this from TED, is that you cannot have an audience. You can't put it on live stream or stream it to more than 100 people. They have a limit on that. No streaming to more than 100 people. And you could have people on your event. So for example, we could sell tickets and they could be on Zoom, people that are a part of the TED event, but we cannot stream it anywhere. Or we could stream it to a private YouTube, but we would not be allowed to stream that because TED wants to make sure that speech has not been shown. And they want people to watch it on YouTube and make it go viral. So we are restricted there. And we may charge people if they come to the event. We don't know. We don't know what we're going to do and how many we're going to have. And we do have that limit that if we don't have an organizer that's been to TED in person before, is our license holder, we cannot have more than 100 people on our event, whether it's virtual or in person. So these are all questions we're going to ask a little later. Great. But I will reiterate, TEDx and TED do not provide you with any information of how to go viral. They only post it to TED.com and YouTube.com, and the rest is up to whatever you do.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, all right.
So right there, you have a leg up at Leaders Worldwide because you have me, and I can help you with that.
Well, I mean, I guess the other thing too is that we've been practicing our TED Talks for some time, and in some cases, I don't know if anybody has shared theirs, but we have been live streaming our TED Talks.
I don't think that matters. I don't, because it's a practice, but the actual event, TED has a limit on that. And we will probably have to investigate that in August. And maybe we'll have to stop live streaming our TED speeches. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks for me.
Okay.
But we'll find out in August, September, October, and then we'll have the auditions hopefully in November.
Okay, no problem.
There's a lot to be done. There's a lot of questions to answer. So was that it for you, for Michelle?
That's it for me. Thank you, Cynthia.
You're welcome. Would you like any virtual treat?
Dark chocolate, 85% or more.
85% or more. Ooh, and do you want anything with it?
Yeah, maybe almonds.
Almonds. Great. Okay. Dark chocolate, 90%. How's that? 90% cacao. Dark chocolate with almonds. Ooh, that's a PMS cure right in a treat. Healthy food. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's it. And we're gonna
bye, Nadine.
Bye-bye, Nadine. That's it for us for tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you next week, May 22nd. I can't believe it's May 22nd already at 5:30.